Welcome to Business as a Magical Practice, where your business is the vehicle for your self-integration and soul evolution. My name is Sam Garcia, and I'm the founder of Dirty Alchemy Digital Marketing. And I'll be guiding you through how you can use your business as a spiritual practice and what magical businesses are doing to hit their goals and change the world. Together, we'll be relating the mystical to the world of business so that our work can unite spirit and matter, shadow and light, conscious and unconscious. Let's dive in. Hey everyone. So today I wanted to do a little behind the scenes of a $513,000 online course launch. These are real numbers from a relaunch we did for a client this year, a third launch for a single program that was launched this year for the very first time, then relaunched 2 more times. And with each launch of this program, things are getting better and better. The launch goes more smoothly, word spreads more quickly, and we get even more people signing up. A total argument for relaunching a stellar program versus launching brand new things all the time, which you have heard me talk about before. And I'll just tell you now, because I'm so excited and can't wait, but we actually got within 50 new members of our stretch goal for this launch. Our goal was 250 new members. Our stretch goal, or the client's stretch goal, I should say, was 500 new members. And this was a membership program, so that's why I'm going to call them members. But we were planning to launch again later this year, in addition to the one that we just did, to hit that number. And we actually got 432 new members total, which means we're not going to be launching again this year because we pretty much hit it. And what's the point? So this launch actually created less work in the long run for us, which is absolutely incredible because we got as many people as we wanted for the rest of the year in a single launch versus launching an additional time, so 2 times for the rest of the year. And so with 432 new members at the price of this program, the business owner will be making $513,000 over the next 12 months, and it's a 12-month program. And that's not even including the hundreds of other members in the program right now who have been there since the first or second launch. So altogether, this launch has helped us cross over into $1 million program, and it's still growing. So really proud of that and excited and celebrating that. And launches are this really interesting thing energetically, and when it comes to business, there's always the strategic and practical side of a launch, and then there's the energetic and magical side to a launch. And me and my team really believe you need both of them to be aligned to have big success, whatever that success might look like for you specifically and however you define that. And just a side note here, memberships have blown up over the last year because of Stu McLaren's Tribe program and other membership promoting programs. And you've probably seen more and more online businesses launching their own memberships, online memberships. Maybe you've even joined one or you're considering joining one. And maybe you're wondering if it's time for you to launch your own. So hopefully this episode can help you answer that question and give you some insight and ideas into how to have the super successful launch and program of your dreams. So first things first, I honestly don't recommend starting an online membership unless you have a large audience and a team. It's a ton of work to implement, and the more you grow in scale, the more work it becomes. And a membership I'm using in this context differently than maybe a mastermind group. Memberships are usually, you commonly see them anywhere from like $7 a month to $300 is usually the higher end I'll see on monthly memberships. So in that range, which is a lower ticket item versus masterminds or ongoing group programs, which can be usually at least $500 a month and often higher than that. So I'm not talking about that when I'm talking about online memberships right now. We're talking about this lower end membership. And just to clarify, a membership is when someone is paying you month after month for a set amount of new things month after month, whether that is calls with you, new content, products, whatever. So this is different than a course in that, in general, a course is something you create once and maybe you add to it and make it better over time, but you're charging your audience a set price for a set amount of stuff. And while memberships have been made sexy, there are downsides. As I said, you do need a big audience to hit the monthly revenue to make it worth the amount of effort it generally takes. There's also churn, which is people who are canceling every month. So you have to be constantly bringing in new people to cover the cost of the program and to keep a good profit margin for yourself. Now I'm seeing a trend of people who have started memberships. Now they're selling a full year of membership instead of having to have it open all the time or launch it and you can leave anytime. And I actually don't consider this a real membership because it's something that someone is committing for a year for. It's not really, it's a long program or even a short-term program. You're not even really trying to lock people in for a year in a normal monthly membership. So if you have a year-long membership, that's really just a slightly longer than usual, but still short-term program. At the end of that year, you're going to need to resell the program to the people who just completed it to try to get them to stay in. So unless you have a team in place to continually launch the program and keep the current members happy and well cared for and continue to scale your business, that's like not even the fulfillment side, that marketing side and growing the audience side, this is not the time for you to start your membership program. But I'm not actually here today to talk about memberships. So let's dive into the nitty-gritty details of this past launch we just orchestrated here at Dirty Alchemy and look at why it was so successful. If you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you've probably heard me say before that I recommend relaunching a program over launching a new program. So relaunching versus launching. And this launch is a great reason why. Great example of why. So this was our biggest launch ever for this program. And the best part is it wasn't even supposed to be. We really didn't expect this launch to be as big as it was. But that's just what happens when you're able to learn from past launches exactly what your audience wants. Not to mention, it is way less work, or often way less work, to relaunch a product or program. For this launch, we already had the sales page made. So while we did add to that sales page and tweak it and edit it based on what seemed to work or not work during our past launches and from feedback we got, most of the copy and the website building was done before we even started this relaunch. And the entire marketing funnel into the program was already established and well underway. So we had promotional material from previous launches that we could pull from. We already had the payment processor linked in and the website all linked in. So there wasn't this huge tech integration to do. And we were already super clear on what our offer was, which is actually a really big deal. The first time you launch a product, sometimes there's a gap between what you as the business owner are offering to people and what your audience understands about your offer, or even a gap between what you think your offer will be and what it actually becomes. This is just classic communication issues that can totally be resolved and prevented, but I believe a lot of it comes from the business owner not always being super clear on what the execution of their brilliant ideas are. They know exactly what they want to give their members or students or clients in terms of what transformation they're offering, but they don't know exactly how that will look in practice. So they might not know the exact teaching they're teaching, or if they need to add other things, or if they need 3 lessons or 10 lessons or weekly calls, or they're adding things and taking things away based on feedback of people being actually in the program. And you can try as much as possible before you launch the program to anticipate this, but a lot of times things change once people are actually in the program. So the awesome thing about relaunching is you already know exactly what the inside of your program looks like. You can tell people very clearly what they can expect because you've already seen it all play out in real time. And that helps to make it super clear who you are and what you're all about to people who think your program might be for them. Also, and this is big, you can learn so much about your customer avatar by looking at who's already in your program. So by using social listening inside of your program, you get crystal clear insight into what your ideal customers want and how they think your program can help them get it, because you're hearing from people who are already in the program about what they love about it and how their life has transformed, and it really manifesting in the physical reality. Because ideally, there's an open forum in your program where they're already talking about it amongst themselves. And so as you're trying to sell your program to new members or new students or new clients, you can use all of this insight from your current members to say, okay, I know what people want. I know how I can help them get there. And now I know exactly what I need to tell them to give them an understanding of how my program will help them get there. And I've said this before, but it's still so true that you need to be the unicorn. Your customers are going to flock to you when they feel like you are fitting exactly what they need, their niche interests. So the more clear you are on your offerings and what the members get from your offerings, the more like a unicorn you'll be, that 1 in a million person that they didn't even realize existed and couldn't have possibly imagined a more magical solution to what they're really desiring. So another thing about a membership program is that your offerings can change. Obviously, you don't want to welcome people into the program on one premise and then completely change that premise. It's also a ton of extra work for you if you decide halfway through that something isn't working, so you're just going to completely change it. You do want to be super clear about your offerings and why those are the things that you're offering and how they can help before your program even begins. But once your program has started, you can use feedback from current members to make your program even better. And that can help you continue to scale your program and improve your program in a way that's going to make current members stick around and actually going to help you get new members as well. So by the way, if you're still trying to figure out exactly what your program should look like, check out episode 7 of this podcast on how to distill your message and make truly transformational programs. I'll link it in the show notes. And in that episode, I go in depth into how to get people to join and stay in your program. And there is so much incredible information there, so check it out. Anyway, back to the behind the scenes. I'm getting there, I promise. So one thing that we did during this launch was we had fresh eyes review the sales page. So we had feedback from past launches into what was working and what wasn't working on the sales page, because we could see what questions or misconceptions people were coming into the program with, or what emails we were getting into the customer service inbox or in DMs on Instagram. So of course we did our best to update the sales page to address any of those questions and misunderstandings so that wouldn't happen again, because we want to communicate as well as possible about what the program is about. And this time around, we had 3 new people who had never heard of this program before, or even the business before, look at the sales page and tell us what they thought the program was all about. And in the places where they were like, what does this mean? Or what am I really getting here? We use that to update our copy and clarify our message. And even in the visuals and in just the layout of the actual page, we got feedback with that, just from having fresh eyes, people who were not a part of the fold looking at it and give feedback. And obviously these were people who were close to the avatar, but not the actual avatar. So like, you're not asking your great aunt Susan about your sales page. You're asking someone who you'd actually imagine being in your program to look it over. So we also asked fresh eyes to look at our onboarding material, because we want people, as soon as they're in the program, to have a pretty clear idea of what they're in for. We want them to know when the calls are, how to access them, where to find the replays, what email addresses to whitelist, basically how to not miss any information. And a lot of memberships have different things going on at the same time, whether it's different homework and life calls that are happening. You really want to make sure that people know exactly where to find what they need to find. I always say to act as though your new members have no idea what this program is. It's really easy on the back end to just kind of assume that other people also know everything about the program. But when you act like your new members or new clients or new students just signed up for the program while they were sitting in their car at a red light and then immediately totally forgot they signed up for it and didn't even really read the sales page and just made a decision on a whim, then you're able to come from a place of trying to answer every question and not leaving anyone confused about what they just signed up for. And you're guaranteed to lose people if they never go through the program because it seems too complicated from the get-go, which is also why you need to have an internal team in place that is big enough and has the time to field all of the questions and concerns from new people while also taking good care of the people who have already been in the program for months or years. And for some people, that internal team is you. But as you grow, as you scale, as you get hundreds or thousands of members or students, you need to grow that internal team. Ideally, you're giving your new members enough information that they don't even have questions. They have everything they need right in front of them. Definitely something that was hit home for my team during our first launch of this program. And with every launch since the first one, we've been able to address this better and better. We're just getting super clear about our onboarding material and what people need to know right off the bat. And we've seen definite decrease in the questions and confusions that were coming right after the first launch. And on the team side of thing, this takes a bit of stress off your customer service person or team. So another plus side to relaunching is that if you have members who have been in your program for months or years, or who bought from you in the past, who are really excited about your program, they can actually act as teachers to new people in the program, help them find their way around it, field questions, answer questions. And one way we did that was to invite our seasoned members to come to the launch webinars. So we use webinars during the actual launch. Let me just go through some actual logistics of the launch. So we had a 1-week period where that was considered a pre-launch period. And this was just when we were talking about sending out emails, posting on Instagram, posting in the Facebook group about the actual launch that was coming up and just getting people excited. Then we had an actual launch, open cart launch period, and that was another 7-day period where emails were going out every day, posts on Instagram were going up every day, posting on Instagram stories every single day, just creating this atmosphere, this environment where it was all hyped up. And during that launch period, that open enrollment period, we had 3 webinars. So those were 3 just live trainings using Crowdcast and on 3 different topics. And the business owner just went through and gave really casual sharing of their expertise and really juicy content that was about the program and fielded any questions. And so during those webinar times, we had dozens of members who have been in the program since the beginning of this year and for about 8 months now, who are in the comments just responding to people's questions and answering concerns from potential new members. And it was a really beautiful thing to see how these seasoned members have learned so much and grown so much from the program, and then see how excited they are to share that with new people. So imagine sitting in a webinar and having the chat go down, and there's a bunch of people asking about the program or talking about just learning from the webinar. And there's also people who are currently in the program in there just sharing about how amazing it is and sharing their experience and just amping it up and getting people excited. So we got to see how excited they are to share that with new people and to give them the space to step up as leaders and welcome a new generation of members into this program. So note here that this means that even people who are already in the program want to attend them. Don't follow that standard webinar structure of intro, give 20 minutes of value, then straight to the pitch. You want to teach, you want to give, you want to transform people through your launch material alone and blow their minds. And it doesn't have to be a webinar. It can be whatever sort of launch event you want to do. I usually just call them launch events. It could be a webinar. It could be a challenge. It could be a bunch of live streams, something where you're able to actually interact and give value to your audience. Anyways, the side effect of past customers showing up at the launch events, the webinars in this case, our client's job became easier because We had these really knowledgeable people to share their experience and answer questions in the chat to create hype, create this feeling that if they join, they'll be a part of something. And in the process, the new people definitely feel like they're getting something more authentic. It's like the power of a live testimonial talking directly to you. And I'm sure you already know this, but people hearing positive things about your program from people actually in your program is way more potent than people hearing you talk positively about your program. So obviously testimonials were really big in this launch. We used a program called Video Ask, which I'll link to in the show notes. And we use that to request testimonials from people in our program, asking them about certain specific practices that have helped them, how the overall program has helped them in their lives. And we'd got dozens of videos from people whose lives were changed through the program. So Video Ask, if you've ever requested video testimonials from students before, this can really be a game changer. It's free. There's a paid version, but the free version works just as well. It's a platform you can send out that people can right there shoot a short video on it, just on their phone or their computer or whatever, and it's kept within Video Ask. So this is so much better than asking people to shoot a video and send it to you, because I don't know if you've ever done this, but then you're like, okay, I shot this video. Now I have to upload it to my computer and then upload it to YouTube, and I need to make sure it's private, but not so private that they have to put in a password. It's just like this weird, awkward thing. And Video Ask really takes that out of it. And you can actually shoot a video of yourself asking them for the video. Check it out. It's great. So the magic of a video testimonial is that in written testimonials, you lose a lot of the energy. Even if there were lots of exclamation points and emojis, you're just not getting the feel of the excitement. And with video testimonials, you can see people's huge smiles, you can see their excitement, you can actually hear how impacted the person has been in a way that would otherwise get lost in a text testimonial. And like, it's proof that it's a real person, not just the business owner scripting a bunch of fake testimonials. And also you get a feel for the energy of the actual person. So you can feel if they're like them. They can feel if they would want to be friends with them, that sort of thing. So in using our video testimonials on the sales page and on social media, and also transcribing them and using them just as text, it becomes content that you can share over and over on multiple platforms during the launch. And then you're getting the people who would rather watch a video and the people who would rather read a quote to see the testimonials. As a part of this, Instagram was a huge key of this launch, and it wasn't in the first two launches. This business has over 10,000 followers on Instagram, which isn't a ton in compared to other businesses of this size or revenue amount, but it's definitely not nothing. You get the swipe up feature that everyone is craving. And before this, we were relying more heavily on the more traditional setup of email marketing. And with this launch, partly because we didn't have to completely start from scratch on the sales page and the funnel, we just had the time where our small team could really invest in spending time hyping this launch up on Instagram. So here's what we did. We posted video testimonials on IG Stories and IGTV. We posted written testimonials as IG Stories. We used IG Stories stickers to have our audience vote on which webinar topics they wanted us to cover during the launch. And because of this, we had record rates of people showing up and really actively wanting to attend the webinar because they were a part of the process. We also created program-specific content posts for Instagram where we addressed some of the frequently asked questions and made it super clear what was in the program. Because background for this one, I don't think that's necessary in all of the cases, but there are a lot of people asking what was actually in the program in previous launches. So, and this is a kind of a complex program in and of itself with a lot of different moving parts, a lot of different elements. So actually spelling that out in Instagram carousel posts and IG stories as different stories really helped to clarify. So because we knew that this was a sticking point of what people wanted to know, we could actually address that as content posts. So the client has a relevant free Facebook group where the community manager fielded almost 50 questions from people wanting to join. So the community manager is in there every single day interacting with people in this Facebook group. And so they knew that they could contact her. So she was getting a bunch of direct messages from people within the group asking about the program. The community manager is a part of this program and teaches elements of the program. So like she knew really everything about the program. She knew it really well. And side note here, so important to have your client care specialists, to have your community managers, to have your customer service people know about what is happening during a launch. There often is this disconnect between the marketing and sales department. I'm calling it a department, even if it is like one or two people, and the people who are more this nurture component of your team, that interacting with people within the program. So important that they're on the same page and everyone knows all of the elements of all of the things, and there's no communication barrier. They join the program. They are sent a welcome email, and in that we created this really beautiful graphic that was specifically sized for Instagram stories so that they could just screen capture it and then share it on social media. So we had hundreds of people sharing their excitement about the program with all of their followers, definitely communicating the FOMO of not signing up. And so we saw dozens and dozens of questions about the program streaming into our DMs on Instagram. So obviously the hype worked. And in addition to all of that on social media, there was the hype that existed simply because this program has been around for a while. By for a while, I mean 8 months. So because this is the third launch, there were people who already knew about the program, but during the previous launches, either couldn't commit or didn't have their finances in order, or maybe they just didn't get into the program in time, but they knew that they wanted to join. They were talking to their friends about it, they were thinking about it, and they were waiting eagerly for this program to reopen. And another huge win was a wait list. Super basic. We had a wait list of over 500 people. So between the open enrollment periods, people could enter their email in to be put on the wait list. And we opened up enrollment a couple days early to those people with an incentive to join the program early, before we even officially opened the doors, because we offered them an exclusive masterclass presentation on a topic related to the program. So we created this bonus that we really believed that people would get excited about. And this may have been my favorite upgrade from previous launches. Simple decision of having a waitlist and giving them early access, literally just a couple emails before the normal launch period. And that got us 30% to the entire launch's goal before we even started. It felt so good. So all your launches energetically build upon one another. So all of that energy and time you spent putting into your first launch is not lost as soon as that launch is over. It's tapped into again and again with each consecutive launch, and it becomes stronger every time. And I do believe that is why relaunches are so powerful, because magically you're building up on this store of energy that's just waiting to be used. And so for this membership program, I mean, it's just a magical program in and of itself. It definitely has its own soul, which is why members who have been in there for several months are still so excited about it, because it's still growing and amplifying, becoming more magically potent. So it's definitely worth noting that if you want your program to be super successful, it has to be unique and magically powerful in its own right. It has to be transformative for its members. I hope you learned something from this episode about how a successful launch looks behind the scenes, and I gave you some ideas to implement in your own business. This has been a really powerful lesson for me in why relaunching is such an incredibly energetically and magically powerful event. It's just gotten so clear this year. To finish this off, I wanted to give you some beliefs that you can try on yourself to transform your own outlook on launches and make sure that your business is as successful as possible. So the first one is, my business gets easier as it grows. This is not one a lot of people think, but it definitely can be true if you choose it. And just to give some logic behind it, when you're able to do the hard stuff up front, like plan the launch and get your funnel down, you can then relaunch it in a way that makes your job so much easier. And maybe you build a team in time, or you have a team and you have these trusted people around you that can help make your business grow and scale without giving you a headache that also grows in scale as you do. The next one is launches can be easy and fun. This is another thing that most people don't really believe, but it definitely can be true, because launches are really this incredibly potent time to engage with your audience and get to know them and get to know how they want to receive the gifts that you're here to give. It really is a magical time as a business owner, even if it does feel exhausting. And again, it can get easier. It doesn't have to be exhausting. By the way, if launches do feel totally exhausting and overwhelming for you, my episode on the 8 phases you need for a numinous launch is exactly what you need. I'll link to it in the show notes. So more than just being magical, launches can be fun and easy. When you see your hard work paying off, when you're looking at those testimonials from people whose lives have been transformed by your work, and you know that you're about to transform even more lives, I mean, you just can't put a price tag on that. And as you're able to look at your launches as something that can build on one another instead of always starting from scratch, it does get easier and easier. And obviously, the more success you have, the more you can decide to be supported with a team or supported in other ways in your lives. So again, easier and easier. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and please rate and review. It makes a big difference. 5 stars only, of course. I'm kidding, but really. Let's stay in touch. Head on over to The Dirty Alchemy on Instagram and tell me about how your business is going in 2020. We're in Q4. This year's wrapping up. How are your 2020 goals that you set in January looking?